and good morning. Warm welcome to all for today's webinar on life skills organized by the Department of English, PSNACT. Respected and our most distinguished guest and the presenter of this session, Mr. K. Anantram, co-founder and director of Parijadam.com, former RJ, All India Radio, Chennai. I deem it a great honor to welcome you for this webinar. Welcome, sir. Have you ever thought of yourself as a problem solver? I'm guessing not, but in reality, we are constantly solving problems. And better our problem solving skills are, the easier our lives are. So, today's topic is going to be the problem solving skills. I would like to welcome all the participants who have joined us for this useful and interesting session. I hope this session would give us essential tips for our life. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Priyadashini, first year of Biomedical Department, PSNA CET, would like to introduce our honorable speaker of this session, who is going to talk to us about problem-solving skills. It helps us to determine the source of problem and find an effective solution. Problem-solving skills are important in every career at every level. Our honorable speaker is an entrepreneur who was the founder of company Parijadam.com with 5 others. Through their progressing skills, they built their company with scratches to one true revenue-generating company. And also he worked as a system engineer in TCS for 2 years, where he provided solutions to future issues that were predicted. With the growing craze and enthusiasm for cricket, its popularity has emerged as a boom not only for players but also for those who talks about it. It's exactly cricket commentator about whom we are talking about. He loves cricket and of course talking about it. Our speaker too provided live commentary for international cricket matches including India. He was graduated with Bachelor's in Mechanical Engineering in PSNA CET. It's glad to say that he was awarded with Best Outgoing Student of PSNA CET in 2013. Later, he completed his post-graduation with Diploma in Management at Science Bangalore. Now it's time to welcome our honorable speaker, former radio jockey, All India Radio Chennai, co-founder, director of Parijadam.com, Mr. K. Anantram. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, Anantram, the session is yours.
Yeah. So thanks a lot to both Madhuravani and Priyadashini for that amazing introduction. And most of it actually, I would say the significant part PSNA also has to actually played a role in my career as a speaker, because 2010 I think I was my second year starting, walking back to the hostel. That's when Vijay sir actually called me and said the first years are coming the next day, so you have to come and help with the registration desk. So I thought that could be some physical work there. Okay, I thought I'll just go out and help them. So as I went there, I got to know, that's when I saw Chitra ma'am for the first time. She was in charge of the desk, and she just threw the mic at me and said, okay, you need to do the announcements to the parents and to the students. So that was a fairly new experience for me to grab the mic. But that is one advantage with PSNA, that she was good enough to throw the mic at me and give me all the freedom to make mistakes and learn from it. So that is a great environment to be in. So you guys are actually pretty lucky, I would say, to be a part of such an environment that allows you to make mistakes and also to correct it from there. So that from there, so the next 3 years I hosted a lot of programs in the college. Then I went to All India Radio. So a starting point of all that, someone who actually allowed me to make mistakes and then learn from it and become better, was the environment that PSNA provided. And that's my relationship with the Literary Association. It goes a long way actually. I'm not new to the Literary Association, so both PSNA and Literary is equally closer to my heart. And so, as Madhuravani said, going into the topic, as she said, she pointed out one thing, that problem solving is something that we are doing it every day. Everybody does it. So don't think that it's a one-time task that you're going to do. You're facing a problem, you somehow handle it, and you somehow solve it. Doesn't mean that that's over. That's game over. Time for celebration, time for enjoyment. That is going to be a continuous process. You're going to do it every day in your life. So you successfully finish one, another one's going to turn up on your face. So see, and another important thing is, we fail to differentiate a situation and a problem. Okay, whenever we are thrown into a situation, we start thinking that we are actually facing a problem and start to react to it. The point is, we need to start differentiating between a situation and a problem. A situation might actually give you an opportunity or throw a challenge. It doesn't always throw a challenge. So wait for the opportunity. If it is an opportunistic situation, grab it and try to maximize it as much as you can. Just don't start thinking that, because we actually see very lesser problems than we think that we are seeing. Actually, very lesser problems around us. We feel that we are facing a lot of problems. It's actually not that. if you're able to maximize the situations, the opportunities that it gives, then it's actually very, very easier to solve the other smaller problems that we have. See, for example, let's take this current situation, the COVID situation. We see a lot of businesses struggling in this current COVID situation. It's actually becoming a sin not to mention COVID in every talk and in every day in our home, right? Every day we are not sleeping without mentioning the coronavirus every day. So I'll just start with that. So in this coronavirus time, a lot of industries are moving down. A lot of industries are actually getting shut. It's not that everybody's facing a problem. A lot of people are turning it into an opportunity as well. As far as if you see this cosmetics industry, for example, all this MAC and Maybelline and all those top producers of those face creams and eye makeups and all that, you know, one product that has actually gone absolutely down, that's absolutely gate crashed. The sales is almost zero. The product is lipstick. Everybody started wearing a mask. Nobody's using a lipstick. Lipstick sale has almost come down. So if the company is actually viewing this as a problem, the immediate reaction would be stop the production of lipsticks, fire everybody in that department and save on salaries and end with it. But this is not what actually companies did. Everybody started focusing on another product which is actually picking up. The sales are actually rocketing. It's all those eyeliners and eye makeups. Because with the government and the organizations, health organizations saying that we need to start living with the coronavirus, people have started giving more and more importance to their eye makeups because everything else is getting covered. So a lot of companies are doubling up their products. They're increasing their product line in the eye makeup department, and they are actually facing the situation very diligently. As I read about those companies, they're actually doing a great job with the COVID-19. That's again, if you see, there's a brilliant business that's happening in India, the 4,000 crore business that happens every summer. I'm talking about the IPL. Coronavirus comes in, it's almost, they said it's going to get cancelled, but then they come up with different plans, right? They didn't see that as a problem. They saw this COVID as a situation. They said we'll still conduct the tournament in closed doors and they will focus on making profits from their TV rights and all that. It's not that they're shutting shop as soon as a problem comes up. They are handling it. So it's all about how you handle it. See, the first thing I would say to solve a problem is to face it. We don't do it. We always want to remain very safe, so we run away from problems and pretend that we don't have problems at all. That is actually a very bad thing to do. Right from my college days, I've been seeing that if one of my batchmates, I think you guys would be seeing this as well. A few batchmates start performing very bad in a particular paper, and they'll start giving out reasons saying that my medium of instruction in school was Tamil. So this Tamil medium thing, they'll just keep on using it as a cover up to their bad performances, which is actually wrong. They have to face it at some point. I know people who actually threw up that as a reason, and that reason is still chasing them. They've still not faced it. The bad thing with problems is that it will chase you till the very end and will get to you. So you need to, at some point, you need to turn back and face it. And I would say the sooner, the better. Because in today's world, you know, there's a lot of information available. There's a lot of information available. Everything is in your palms. There's a lot of infrastructure available. So you get to read about how people are solving different problems at different parts of the world. So when the same situation occurs to you, you will be able to easily replicate the same and try to get out of that problem. So training is not a problem in today's world. Infrastructure is not a problem in today's world. Information, everything is easily available. The point is, solving the problem comes later, but do you have the guts to face it? Facing the problem is actually, that is the most important thing. See, most of us don't have the guts to face it. That is because we don't have the risk-taking ability. The risk-taking ability is very, very important in solving a problem. Whenever you actually wanted to take a risk, see, when I wanted to quit my corporate job from TCS and start my business, the first question that came up is, there's a very popular question in India. Okay, the Indian society, it keeps throwing you this question. They don't allow you to take risks. The question was, do you have a backup plan? This keeps on repeating, do you have a backup plan? The point is, why should I need a backup plan? I'm going to start something so that I move forward and do something positive. So the first thing that you should do is not to think about a backup plan. The backup plan is an essential part of problem solving. Always keep it as your second or your third point in the list, not as your first point. Your first point should always be something or the positive consequences that the risk is going to give you. That should be in your mind. You guys, everybody would have faced it, right? When you finish your 10th, which group are you going to take? 11th, 12th? Okay, go for a biomax so that it is safer. If you don't get medicine, you'll get into engineering. You don't get that, you get into agri. You have multiple backup options. We start thinking about backup options before making a decision, which is actually wrong. Because nobody have asked you if you are actually passionate about medicine. They'll just tell you go for that group so that you have a lot of backup options. See, whenever you have a backup options, it's just like falling back, okay? Whenever you have something to fall back on, you won't have the confidence to move forward. So as your first step, don't always have a backup option. So falling back is like falling on a chair, okay? You just go sit in comfortably. But the point is the comfort is very, very limited. As days goes on, the chair will automatically transform itself into a wheelchair and you get crippled to it. You get confined to the limited comfort of that wheelchair and you will never move forward. That is actually the easiest option. As the famous story says, the frog story, everybody knows that, right? They throw the frog into hot boiling water, he immediately jumps up and escapes death. They throw the same frog into a cold water and they start increasing the heat slowly. It starts enjoying the comfort of the warmth. The point the warmth becomes a killing heat, it doesn't know how to move forward. It doesn't know how to jump. That's it. It dies a painful death. That is what all these backup options give you, the limited comfort. As soon as it shows you the limited comfort, we don't want to get out of that and we won't move forward. We get used to that comfort. That is one bad thing that we are actually doing. And I would say this, in the Indians, a close-knitted society, right? Our Indian society, and they won't let you take risks. That is the only problem. But you need to take risks to actually move forward in life. See, when I say you need to think about only the positive consequences, because risk takers alone have taken the world forward, okay? Only risk takers have actually taken the world forward. People who never took risks have always followed the risk takers. Always, the risk takers have taken the world forward. For example, you think about people were walking like 100 years back, people are just walking. 90% of people are satisfied with that. Only 10% wanted to fly. They found the aeroplane. Black box and the backpack parachutes, they came after the aeroplane. Nobody were thinking about a plane crash when they wanted to start invent a plane. So that is how inventions happened. Progressive thinking and risk taking. The backup plans come in later. Cars came 200 years back. The airbags came just 10 years back, right? We were waiting for airbags and getting scared about car crashes. We would have driven our first car in 2010. So it's all about the risk takers. They are taking the world forward. Okay, so you need to decide if you are actually want to be a part of the crowd that follows the risk takers, or you want to join them and take the world forward. So it is all about them. They have been taking the world forward, okay? Because risk taking is the only way that can take you to success and solve your problems. Again, I know that success is a very subjective thing. What is successful to me might not be successful to you. It's completely subjective. Let's get on with it. But at the same time, I'll tell you, you will know that you've succeeded when this people, the society around you tells that this guy has gotten very lucky, man. That's what they will tell. Nobody will appreciate the effort. Nobody will appreciate how you solve these problems in your life. They'll just tell you this guy has gotten very lucky. That is when you know that you're succeeded. Because that's what people talk about. Ambani, Bill Gates, everybody, right? Those guys are lucky. They're making millions. Nobody knows how they actually work day and night to reach there. How they faced problems. How they took risks. So that is actually, so risk taking always is an important step to solve your problems. So, only when you take risks, you will be able to do what you like. The passion thing. I know we are actually flowing from problem solving to taking risks to passion, but then what's life without achieving your passion? What you like? Not everybody in this group who listening to this wants to be an engineer, right? There'll be a lot of singers and photographers and pilots in this hiding in there, right? A lot of directors. But why are we actually not doing it? This passion thing, unless you take a risk, there are a lot of researches going on. And in the US, a brilliant research actually that says the biggest pain a person experiences on his deathbed is regret. On his deathbed, when he knows that he's going to die, nobody's searching for a son or daughter. Everybody's regretting what they have not done in their life, but wanted to do. You would have wanted to do a lot of things, but we won't do it. But remember, on your deathbed, all those desires, all your desires that you actually wanted to do will stand around you like ghosts, as lifeless ghosts. But just think why those ghosts came to you in the first place. They came to you because they believed that you could give life to them. That is why they came to you. But you never took a risk. You enjoyed the limited comforts, never gave life to them. So they remained as ghosts. They will keep haunting you forever. So never regret for anything. Whatever you like to do, just go and do it. Don't think about the problems that you'll be facing on the way. They can be solved if you have the ability to take risks. That will take you forward easily. But why don't we do it? Why are we not taking risks? We are not taking risks just because of the fear of failure. Everybody has the fear of failure. That is the biggest drawback that we have. That is again kind of an Indian mindset. We fear failure. The pressure of doing good and the fear of failing is two completely different things, okay? We know that like greats who achieve greater things in sports. You see someone like a Vishwanathan Anand, a PV Sindhu, or a Sachin Tendulkar. Whenever they go out to perform, you ask them, they'll tell you that they are nervous. The nervousness is because of the pressure for doing good, performing well, and not the pressure, the fear of failure. They don't feel the pressure because of fear of failure. They know they can dominate. They have the talent. So they don't have the fear of failure. But a lot of us have that. A simple example is, guys would have faced it, I know, and most of the girls also would have seen this. We actually go in a bikes kids, we fall, we get to know that nothing happened to us seriously, nothing happens to the bike as well. The next thing that instinctively we do is, we take the bike and we just go to a deserted street, get down, and then check for scratches in our body, check for the bike, and then drive away. Instinctively we do this. You know why? Because we don't want people to see us getting up after that fall. We don't want a lot of people to see us whenever we fall. That is one bad mindset that we have. Because remember, after a fall, getting up will look ugly. That will look ugly, but we have to get up. That's the only way to move forward. That's why I said, never have a backup plan as your first option. Always fall forward. Because when you fall forward, one good thing about falling forward is you will at least know what you're going to hit. So when you know what you're going to hit, that will help you move forward. That will help you get up and walk forward. And that will also let you know that what not to do in a particular situation. When you learned a lot of what not to do, then that's easy to get to know what to do in that situation, right? So that actually falling makes you stronger. That makes you even more intelligent and cleverer to face a situation. So don't fear falling down. It's all about getting up. And the point is, everybody has the ability to get up. Actually, everybody falls, to be very frank. Everybody falls. Okay, don't think that you're the only person who's facing a problem. Right from Karl Marx to Yousafzai Malala to Barack Obama, everybody had faced problems and had come out of it. So don't think that you're the only person in the world who's facing a problem. Everybody's facing a problem. And the truth is, everybody can actually bounce back. Everybody can easily get up after a fall, okay? So don't worry about falling. You just have to focus on getting up. Because the human mind is naturally a fighter. The human mind is naturally a fighter. Just imagine you're caught up in a tsunami. The wave is chasing you and you're just running away from the wave. Opposite, you see a 80 feet wall. You know that you cannot jump over it. 100%. You're going to die in that tsunami. You cannot jump over it. But you know what your mind instinctively will do? It will keep running towards that wall. It knows that you can't jump off that wall. But still you'll keep running till the end. Your engineer's brain won't work there. It won't tell you that you're running at 5 km per hour. The tsunami is coming at 50 km per hour. In 5 seconds, it's going to kill you there. So there's no point running. Just turn back, jump into the wave and die. Our mind will not do it. It'll instinctively run towards it till the wall and hope for a miracle to happen. Miracles do happen only to risk takers, I tell you. So your mind is naturally a fighter. The fighting spirit in your mind is being overtaken by the fear of failure. Don't let that happen. Ensure that the fighting spirit overtakes and finally succeeds in driving away the fear of failure. Learn to fail, because my perspective towards life's changed from a completely different situation. Okay, from an African, the few words of the African that actually changed my perspective towards life. Okay, when I said the way you need to see situation, because whenever you try something new, whenever you take a risk, you are bound to fail and you will fail. Don't worry about that, and you will definitely get up. When you get up, the end result of that effort is a failure. So people around you will definitely laugh at you, but you need to celebrate that moment, because you're put in a lot of effort. You put in a lot of effort to reach that point, and then you have failed. So nobody's going to see that effort, but you're seeing that, right? You need to learn to celebrate yourself. See, this happened when I was with All India Radio 2013. India, South Africa were playing. Night 8:30 to morning 3:30 was my shift. That's the play timings in South Africa. So I was there. Early morning, we get a news that Nelson Mandela passed away. So Nelson Mandela passes away. So next day, after 2 days, I think, his funeral was happening. So all of us were sitting in this TV room. There are a lot of TVs in that room. So we were sitting there. Every media in the world were covering Nelson Mandela's death. So we were all watching that. And this one guy, one African, a black African, he was enjoying the occasion. He was just dancing his heart out. It seemed as if he was like enjoying to the core. A British reporter goes to him and asks, all right, don't you like Mandela? He's like, you can't ask this question to anybody in South Africa. We just love him. He's like God. Like, you say that you love him, but he's dead now. His body is just going. And how are you able to enjoy? You are in a celebration mood. How is that possible? He said that, yes, he is dead. We are all sad about that. It is always good to mourn someone's death, but at the same time, we should never forget to celebrate his life. That was amazingly put by an African. He just said that, okay, he's dead. We'll definitely mourn his death. But what about the efforts that he has put for 90 to 95 years for the welfare of South Africa? That is his life, right? He has put in their efforts for the countrymen. So we should celebrate his life as well. We don't do this at all. We just look at the end point. Someone's dead, we mourn, end of story. What about the process? He has lived a worthy life, man. So make sure that you live a life worth celebrating. And whenever you fail, celebrate yourself, celebrate your life. You need to celebrate and ensure that the effort that you put to reach till that point, please celebrate that. That's what I'm telling. Because, whenever you face a problem, the only thing you need to do is to be consistent in getting up. I know this is supposed to be a kind of motivational talk and all, but still I'm telling you the truth. You will fail in life, okay? Multiple times. You will fail miserably, and you will embarrass yourself. This will happen. This is inevitable. But whenever that happens, hang on to that dear life. Remember the tsunami example, that you will run till the edge of the wall, hoping for a miracle to happen. It's all about hanging to dear life. It's just like waiting for, solving your problems. Don't take it so complicated. It's just like getting a haircut at a barber shop. If it's crowded, what do? You just wait, just hang on there. Eventually you'll get a haircut done. That's all. It's that simple. You just have to hang on to your problems. At some point it'll run away from you. So don't just give up. Whenever you fall down, just try to get up. The only part that you should never forget is that getting up part. Do it consistently. When you get up, you will look ugly. I repeat this, when you get up, you will look ugly, but do not mind that. Just keep getting up. Things will actually get better. You need to keep hanging on. At the end of a lot of days, you might actually fail. A lot of days might give you failures. That's for sure. But remember, whenever you fail, the next day, the sun will again rise. So when the sun rises, all you have to do is to wake up, dress up, face it, and kill it, guys. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Very interesting, Anantharam.
Thank you, sir.
There was a great flow of thoughts, and I admire your fluency level.
Thank you, sir.
Definitely will be a role model to these young people.
Thank you, sir.
You come from the same institution where they are studying now.
Yes, sir.
So definitely they will admire, right?
Yeah.
There is a kind of in evidence now, just very clear that the students outperform teachers too. So even I admit that I don't have this much speed in my talk. Basically, as a teacher, we are practiced to be very slow and steady. But when it comes to the case of public speaking, talking to huge gathering, speaking with this tempo, with the teaching tempo may not be successful practice. So you have that skill of delivering. So really it was amazing, and all your thoughts were very interesting. Now I have asked the students to give their comments and their questions. Are you able to see the chat window?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm able to see.
Okay, then it's an awesome speech. Sir, how to overcome self-fear to achieve a goal? That's the question.
How to overcome self-fear is that I would say, just imagine, not about imagine, you need to just decide that your goal is bigger than your fear. If you leave your fear, everything is gone. See, very simple. Someone who's very close to you, your friend or someone, see your father or someone, and someone is coming to stab them with a knife. What do? At the end, at least you will jump in front of them and save them, right? When you have that kind of a confidence, our mind automatically has that confidence. Your kid is falling from a terrace. What will you do? You will jump into the well even if you don't know swimming. So we all have that confidence naturally. So let mind do its work naturally. You don't try to control it with the word fear, okay? There is nothing called as fear. So don't try to control it. Naturally, mind has a fighting ability. It will fight and it will give you all your positive deeds in life. So your goal, your mind will take you towards it. You don't have to think about fear at all. That's what I will say. Because your mind has that confidence, it will automatically do it.
Excellent, very excellent answer. This is what I expected, Anantharam. So when we are in danger, automatically we act swiftly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have the ability,
that
but
is
the thing
why.
is that we do not know. We are aware. We are not aware of.
Yeah. That is why I say it's all about not having a backup plan, because as they say, everybody has two lives. Your second one starts only when you get to know there is no first life. So that is your last option. Whenever that becomes your last option, you will inevitably do it. Just because you have backup plan, you cover it up saying fear. There's nothing called as a fear. That's what I feel.
Very excellent answer. So when there is a deadline, automatically we will strive our level best.
Exactly.
Okay. So wonderful talk. Proud of you, Anantram. So our staff member Hajira Banu, and she has given her comment. And the same boy who asked the previous question has come up with another another thought. This is the thing is that we are not thinking about the backup options at first, but our parents are not allowing us to think about our future. This seems that we think to take any struggle, our parents don't let it. So there is a conflict between parents and
there's a conflict. So see, take this out of the equation. See, don't bring emotions into it. Whenever you're facing a problem or facing a decision making, move out of it and see it from a third person's view. You know that example, right? There will be 9 dots and you need to connect it with 5 lines. We won't be able to do it. Finally, the answer they'll give is you need to go out of the box. You need to go out and then you'll be able to connect it. So that is the same thing, okay? When your parents or whoever it is are forcing you to do it, the only thing I would say is don't succumb to pressure. We are succumbing to the pressure of the society. That is what happened. See, that is what our parents actually did. I actually want to say that at least, I hope that at least the next generation doesn't succumb to pressure. Because the startup culture is actually spreading wide at this generation. In previous generation it was not there. Why people are succumbing to pressure? If you're doing the same mistake, then you're going to lead the same life, the same usual comfortable limited comfort life. So never accept it, never succumb to pressure. Make them understand. See, it's all about, whenever, if you want to take a decision, you need to ensure that you need to make the others understand as well. You need to have that skill. Only then you'll be able to attract people. You'll be able to attract a lot of people, because that is very, very important. Okay, attracting people, ensuring that people accept your opinion. That is an excellent skill to have. You need to develop that skill and make sure that they understand. Okay, if I'm giving same talk to your parents, I wouldn't be using the words that I use to you guys, right? I would have made sure that they understand this talk as well. The talk of problem solving, I would have chosen different. My choice of words would have been different. Might have gone bilingual. That's it. You just have to find a way to get through them. You need to convince them. It's not about fighting. Being a rebel doesn't work always. You just need to have the convincing skills and make sure that you need to convince them as well. That is the only way to go. And don't succumb to pressure of the society.
Indeed, Anantara, very, very practical answer. So you have got a lot of experience in life. That is why you're able to deal with these issues at this age. Okay, and when you say this, convincing the parents, I remember one of our students, the present music director Sithu Kumar, who composed the music of Manjal Pachai Sigappu.
Okay,
and he studied here, and he was here for 6 months. He studied civil engineering, and his passion was music. He came from Madurai, and he had his own studio at home. And after 6 months, he left the institution. He left his studies and he went to Chennai and he started practicing. And this he was able to do mainly because he was able to convince his parents that he will shine one day. And parents were also able to believe.
Exactly. That's it.
So your answer was very apt, very accurate. Okay. So the senior people also may not have such kind of very practical answers. They will come up with stories to tell. But you're dealing with this with kind of straight answering style. Okay. Very excellent, Anantram. So we would like to extend this session for another 20 minutes because your answers are very, very apt and relevant to the young boys and girls. The thing is that we have another 6 minutes for this session. Okay, the session will end up at after 6 minutes, and the participants can rejoin. If you are willing to ask questions to our resource person, you can rejoin. Rejoin by clicking the same link. You can rejoin. So now we have another 5 minutes. If at all you have any questions, you please post your questions. And there is a comment from Viresh. Very worthy session, sir. Thank you. And Viresh, why don't you ask a question? You unmute yourself, Viresh. You ask a question to Anantram. Veresh, are you able to hear me?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yes, you can talk to Anantram. Yes.
Sir, I felt, personally, I felt the society, that means, forces me to do something, sir.
Okay.
If I, what means, I want to take a particular subject and go through
Okay.
self, but
Yes.
I have no, less chances to get succeed if I studying here.
Okay.
So I want to take some risk and go abroad.
Okay.
But my financial and society forced me not to take that.
Okay.
Choose some comfortable courses.
Okay.
They have just like that trust me to take the courses. How I
Okay.
can overcome that, sir?
See, in this case, as I said, when the society stands against your decision, you take time to self-analyze your decision. So, say, for example, whatever subject you're taking, I'm not sure about that. So, whichever subject you're taking, you need to do a lot of background work, which says by picking up this subject, these are all the different career opportunities that are actually available. Make a research on that, and these are the different career opportunities. If I go into it, I'll end up in life like this. Prepare a clear flow chart or a clear plan, because now you are into engineering, right? You guys are students, so you need to take everything in a process oriented way. Okay, to convince them in a process oriented way. Not giving vague answers won't help you. Okay, if I do engineering, I'm going to get 20,000. If I do that, I'm getting 40,000. That is not the way to go forward. Okay, convincing people. You're taken a subject, take it. If you do, if you pick up that subject, what are the different career opportunities available? So what all you can actually do? You need to explain that to people. Make a proper flow chart. Explain that to people, and your current course. What are the disadvantages of your current course? Weigh both. Weigh the advantages of your passion versus the disadvantages of what people are expecting you to do. Weigh both and present both to those people. They will be able to understand. You need to make them understand. That is the only way to do this.
Thank you, Anand.
Thank you,
So, how could you get such kind of stamina in your skill? Because you have answers for all kinds of questions that are shot to you.
So maybe when you start something right from scratch, you face experiences even without you yourself knowing, sir. That is the only thing I would say. When you start something from scratch, there's absolutely no help, because I started with my first month salary. Absolutely, till date we have no loans, and we have 3 showrooms, but we don't have any loans, and we don't have even 1 rupee of loan till date. So all from our own earnings from the corporate job. That's how we started. So we have faced a lot of failures. We started from selling sarees on the streets. So that is one story. I thought I'll come there and tell people in person, tell all the students. So those experiences, that will give you a lot of experience. The only thing I'll tell is, he said that financial issues are a barrier to him. I would just tell, if money is your problem, make that as your motivation. Earn more money so that money is not your problem. If motivation is your problem, set a goal so that you're never bored of achieving that goal. So it's just that. So I would say, get on the streets. Making money is the most easiest thing. That is what I learned from my experience. So being successful also is like that. So you need to get on the streets, get to the lowest level, and just fight it out. You'll get a lot of experiences. You'll meet a lot of new people. You'll get a lot of experiences. You can see life from a different perspective. That'll be actually very helpful. So that is how we thought.
Interesting. Okay, Madhuravani has a question. Madhuravani, please unmute yourself. Okay. Yes, you can ask.
Sir, actually, everyone personally have a wish to choose some career, but due to parents' force, we not. They say only for our wish, our good guidance. So we come to that special course, and we started doing and making agree that we can get success in this too. Same, still there's thought. If I have chosen my personal wish, I would done better. I want to do that too. I am not able to balance the both.
Okay. Madhuravani, I think we need to start inviting parents to this talk as well. A lot of questions are on parents, and so see, Madhuravani, I'll just tell you something. Nothing will convince the person at the other end like facts and numbers. Okay, your stories will not be heard. Okay, always your stories will not be heard. Nobody's willing to listen to anybody's stories. Okay, so all you have to give is facts and numbers. So if you want to take a decision, back it up with data. There's nothing like data. Okay, you need to back it up with data, or else nobody's going to listen to you. See, even if you're going to come to me and tell, okay, I chose electronics, I wanted to choose mechanical, but my parents didn't allow me because they said mechanical is full of boys and all that. That's actually not a proper answer. Okay, you need to back it up with data. You need to back it up with the opportunities that girls get, the safety issues that actually how safe they are. Everything you need to back it with data. Okay, nothing else will work. You need to find data. You need to research. If you want something, right, at the end of the day, and they are paying for you, so they will definitely ask you questions. They are the stakeholders. They are almost your stakeholders. They are putting in money on you, and you are taking a decision. You need to ensure that it comes out good. So you need to back it up with data. You guys are, I would say that you guys are not doing any background information on what you actually want to do. You need to do a lot of work, collect a lot of data, and facts. Nothing else will help you.
Very good, Anant. Very good, Anant. And even now we faced a problem, right?
Yeah.
Actually, when we restarted the session, my daughter came inside. I was signaling her to keep quiet.
Okay.
So while I was concentrating on her, I unknowingly I muted myself, and I was not able to speculate where the mistake was. You were totally audible, and that is what I was telling you in the chat. And there were students informing me, "Sir, unmute yourself." That I was not able to catch, and there was a stress. There was a stress. It's a problem created. So when you face the sudden stress, so can you give a suggestion to come out of that the stress that is happening all of a sudden, the problem that is happening all of a sudden?
The problem, if a problem happens all of a sudden, the immediate thing that you should do is to stop worrying about the problem. You need to get out of the problem and see that from the outside point of view. See it like a third person would see. For example, you have just 5 lakhs. You need to save 2 family members with that. You will be actually caught up in an emotional web, and you will not be able to make a decision. What a third person would have done at your point. So that is how you should see. Always when you are stressful, just forget that you are in the chief. I am stressful. I'll always think that Anand is not at that point. I'll just leave him. It's like in movies they show the soul leaving the body. You just leave your body for 1 minute, sit outside and think about that problem. You'll definitely get a different view, because you'll see the problem from a different view. Because in this case, your full thought process was something like, okay, we have extended the session. We need to ensure that it gets over soon, and a lot of other things will be going on. It's not that you have to go out and think that it can be a technical issue as well, because a technical issue thing did not strike your mind that your end could be wrong. You're thinking that, okay, it's got disconnected, it's getting connected again. That would be issues with these people. The students need to be quiet. There's a lot of things going on in your mind, right? So that technical aspect, which actually was supposed to be the primary problem, that was at the back of your mind. That was never at the forefront of your mind. If it was a third person, what would you are not able to speak on a phone. What will you think? Okay, I'm not able to talk. I need to see if I'm on mute. That is the first thing that we used to see. But here we are not able to see that because we're caught up with a lot of things. We need to go out and see as a third person. Okay, what? The first thing is we need to check our system. Okay, let's do that. When we do that, then that's done. That's how we need to handle stress.
And okay, fine. Very interesting. Very interesting. And I could add a point along with the note of Anantram. When there is a certain problem created, we always view from the other dimension that we are perfect. The other side is wrong. And I was thinking Anantram has a problem with his computer. That is why he is not able to handle it. But ultimately, the problem is with the real person who is hosting the session. Okay, so we must also be patient to think that the problem may be from our side too.
From our end,
right? Our end also there will be some problem. Okay, thank you, Anantram. And there is another question from Madhuravani. Thanks, sir. What you gave us was really helpful, and let me try to work on that. These are the thoughts really we wanted. Okay, in how to overcome failures in the progress of achieving goal. The question from Santosh Shuda. Santosh Shuda, are you available? Can you come online and talk to Anantram? Santosh Shuda?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you please ask your question to Anantram.
No, sir. In the process of achieving goals, we overcome various failures.
Okay.
How to accept that and move on.
See, when you encounter a failure, failure is for other people to see. Okay, when you have failed, it is termed as a failure because other people looked at it as a failed attempt. failure is not for ourselves. Okay, we need to think that either you achieve your goal or you learn to achieve that in a different direction. That's all. You go to that goal in a different direction. It's very simple. It's not that you. The first thing that we'll try to do as soon as we set a goal is to run straight. Right? Everybody does that. As we run straight, we start to face a problem. We'll find some other way to achieve it. That's all. So it's just a learning step. It's not a failure. Just because the other people term it as a failure, they say, okay, fine, you have failed in this point. Take your backup option and settle. You just don't accept that. Accept that the other people will term it as a failure, right? Everybody else terms it as a failure. You need to term it as a learning. For you, it's a self-learning. See, you guys should not actually bury yourself in a barrage of self-pity. Okay, we are actually doing it. Don't play victim. That due to this situation, I'm not able to do it. This is the reason. Finding reasons. Okay, don't play victim. Nobody actually has time to listen to your pity story. So don't bury yourself in a barrage of self-pity. Move with self-confidence. That is another way. That is, you just learn what not to do. That's all. As simple as that. You don't take it as a failure to your head. Be clear. That's it.
So whatever the question is asked, you are able to answer. So you have got a wisdom of answering the questions. Okay, and I'm going to ask you a very tough question, because whatever the problems that come from other side, and you have some answers for that. And after some point of time in every man's life, the event is taking place. That is marriage.
Yeah.
And you are newly married.
Yes, sir.
How do you think of this marriage system? Is what kind of problem-solving skill you can use there?
In deciding a marriage, or problem-solving skills in marriage life as a whole?
Generally, but this question may not be relevant to the same boys and girls, but it be useful for useful to them after 4 years. So I want to put you in trap, because you are answering all questions, right? So this question, because you are nearly married, and how do you?
So see, problem solving in marriage, I feel a very basic principle. The one bad thing that we have is whenever someone talks, we listen just because we are giving that person to finish his talk, and then we are going to talk back. That is the only reason we are listening. We should never do that. We should listen so that we get to understand that person's point. That is the total essence of listening. So you do that, and then you tell your point. You need to give that time to the other person. Listen to whatever she says. That's it. And that time of listening, that is completely focused only on listening. Don't think about what you're going to, your comeback point, your giving back point. Don't think about that point at all. So we're just waiting for that person to finish so that we can give a good comeback or a counter. Just wait for it. The essence of listening. Once we learn that, then marriage life is actually very easy. Listen to that person and then give out your point. That's what I feel is. I mean, your experience than me, so it's I shouldn't be answering this. This is my take.
Definitely, you will be a very successful person in life, man. In addition to the business, you will be able to manage things in family also. So try to extend your ears. Listen to people what they try to say.
Yes.
The other side always want you to listen rather than telling your points. Yeah. So when you are able to understand this, then that is a problem-solving skill in marriage life.
Yes.
Yeah. So really superb answer. Your answers are really good. Okay. And Chitra Devi madam has mentioned he has become a good listener. Yes, Hajra madam, please, you have a question you can ask. I will unmute you. Hajra madam, are you?
I think she's still not unmuted. It shows that's mute.
She has raised her hands. Yes, Hajra madam, you can unmute. I have unmuted you. You can ask the question. Yes.
Hello, sir. Yeah, I'm here. Anand Ram,
yes, ma'am.
It was really wonderful listening to you. What language? Actually, I just came to give an appreciation to you. Okay. And not only that, like you have got very good presence of mind, and as Vijay sir mentioned, you answered almost all the questions. Like some people, you just manage answering, but you gave real sensible answers to everybody's question. Now I'm going to ask you something other than problem solving.
Yeah,
like how did you achieve such command over language? that might be of help, some help to the students, you know.
Yes,
Like
ma'am.
you've got
Yes, I.
command
Yeah.
over the language. Just
See,
explain.
I used to follow a different practice when I was in school. I don't know if it will actually work out. That was my practice. What I used to do is the same day's newspaper, I used to read the English newspaper in Tamil and the Tamil newspaper in English, ma'am. That was my the first thing. See, for example, when you take the newspaper, it will tell you Sachin Tendulkar scores a century. So in Tamil, when you translate, the Tamil newspaper will tell you Sachin Tendulkar sadam adittar. At the same time, the next day's news will come, Sachin slams a century. So on Tamil, it will translate to Sachin sadam vidasinar. So you'll get to know a lot of vocabulary when you translate this. Same thing, you just try to read because a lot of us think in Tamil and then we try to translate and then speak in English. Right? We start thinking in English and words come out easily. So this exercise actually helped me. I used to read the Tamil newspapers in English and the English newspapers in Tamil. So you will not get to understand a lot of words. That's when the use of dictionary comes into picture. That's when I check the dictionary, and that is one thing. And apart from the reading, I read novels. My dad is a avid reader, so that is how I feel my command. And also All India Radio actually helped. I was there for a period of 9 months. So speed talking like 130 words per minute, kind of, that was my record there. So 130 words per minute clearly was my record there. So that again helped me. But command over English is this practice, reading English in Tamil and Tamil in English. So that is how I.
Yes, Ajra madam.
Thank you, Anand. I think this will be a really useful tip for all the students. That's a nice way to learn. Just read, understand. Good. Thank you, Anand.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ajra madam. And there is another feedback from a strange person in the team, and he is not mentioning his name, and it has some kind of a lengthy name. And the feedback is, sir, really it is motivational and interesting session. We have learned a lot from this session.
Okay.
The way of speaking, the ways to overcome problems, and a lot. Really, thank you so much for this session, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
And people are very happy about this. Okay, that is why the 26 students have turned back.
Okay.
Okay, they have joined. Okay, Anantaram, really, I enjoyed this session. Previously, we had sessions from other resources like college teachers and one more former student of our institution. What's her name? Immaculate Rashma, and Kalpana from civil engineering. I could see these young chaps are able to perform better than elder people. They know better than us, and this is a point that we must admit. We must correct ourselves from saying that these young boys and girls do not know much. Only we know. Tamil Thakapan Samin solra mari. Okay, we need to learn a lot from these young boys and girls. Okay, so really, it's a very wonderful point of time. I did not expect that this session will be highly enticing, and you have established all your points without thinking for next second. The answers just poured out. Okay, you had a great potential, right? So thank you, Anantaram. Wish you all the best in your business prospects and your family life.
Thank you, sir.
So keep joining us, and we will invite you in person for another wonderful session.
Definitely, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Glad to do it, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anantaram. Thank you, Anantaram. As
Thank
participants, and you will get a feedback link to your email ID. Please try to fill in the feedback link within 1 hour by now, right? And you will get your e-certificates within 3 days of time. So thanks for your participation. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.